we all have that fantasy of what if all of our stuff fit in a luggage? What would life be like? Well, I'm about to share with you guys 4 things that I learned. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobras Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalist videos. Today's video is going to be extreme minimalism. I lived out of a suitcase for 9 months. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go. Woo! During Chinese New Year, Will and I came back to Taiwan and we were only supposed to be here for 1 week. So I just packed a small little luggage for like 7 days worth of clothes. And then the COVID situation happened and I have been living out of this suitcase for about 9 months. We came in January and at the time of this filming, it is like the last day of September. So I guess October. I guess technically it would be like 10 months. But for the sake of the video, I'm just going to say 9 months. So what have I learned from that in this extreme minimalism? You guys know that even though I am a minimalist, I'm not that extreme, and I guess I would call myself more of a practical minimalist. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys what I experienced and what it was like and what are the big take-home lessons that I learned from living out of a suitcase. If any of you are in your minimalism journey and have ever wondered or fantasized, because I'm pretty sure that's like a minimalist in the making. I think we all have that fantasy of what if all of our stuff fit in a luggage? What would life be like? Well, I'm about to share with you guys 4 things that I learned, and maybe this may encourage you guys to live a little bit more stoic, more minimally, or maybe you might think, you know what, I don't need to live out of a suitcase. Number 1, I was happy regardless of the amount of stuff that I owned. Even though I have been very tight with the amount of stuff that I have because I am a minimalist and I do live in the dorm room, so most of my stuff has to be able to fit in a luggage for when I pack my stuff and I leave the dorms. I always thought that maybe at the back of my mind, sometimes I thought maybe if I owned a little bit more, I might be a little bit happier. Like the self-imposed minimalism was getting a little bit tiresome. But I actually found that I was happy and probably a little bit happier, just like on a more practical level with less amount of stuff, just because it was just like less stuff to worry about and less stuff to take care of. And you don't really realize what that's like until you actually experience it. I really thought that if I had less stuff, I was going to be missing my stuff. I really thought that I was going to be feeling a sense of lack, but I actually found the opposite. I found the less stuff I had, the more feeling of abundance I felt. I really don't know how to explain it. I don't know if there's like a science behind it, but that is just something that I experienced. With the less stuff that I had, the richer and more abundant I felt. Number 2, I realized I am not my material possessions. That one has been a big one for me because it was hard for me to disconnect my self-worth from my material possessions. I thought if I had luxury items or if I had more expensive items or more coveted items that I was more valuable as a person. So it was really difficult for me to extract myself from that. And in these months of like living out of a suitcase and not buying anything, I realized that I am not my material possessions. I realized that even though I own very little, I continue to exist as a person, and my integrity and who I am as an individual continue to exist regardless of my stuff. I know that sounds very like, duh, obviously you're not your stuff, but it was for me something that was like on a subconscious level. I really did feel very attached and I felt a lot of identity with my things. I felt like who I was represented through my things, but not having some of my things and realizing I was still the things that I identified in my identity was still there was really nice. For example, I didn't bring all my makeup with me. I left half of it behind, and with the small amount of makeup that I had, I was still a makeup lover. Just like my minimal clothes, even though I didn't have all of my entire wardrobe with me, I was still a minimalist. Number 3, my stuff owns me, not the other way around. I think somewhere in the beginning of the summer, I started to kind of like look a little bit deeper into this extreme minimalism, and I came across Fumio Sasaki's stuff again. I had dismissed him as a bit extreme in the beginning of my minimalism journey. I'm more related to the KonMari method, but since I had been kind of going more into like Zen and living a more monk-like life, I really started to resonate with the things that Fumio was saying. And one of the things that he said that really resonated with me during the summer that I have kept with me since was that your things own you and not the other way around. I always had this idea that I owned my stuff, and the more stuff I owned, the more of a master I was of my stuff. But I found it to be the opposite. The less stuff I had, the less it called upon me. For example, if you don't own much stuff with you, that's not stuff you got to take care of. And when you take care of things, it's a responsibility. You have to give to the item, not as much as it gives to you, if that makes any sense. Like, there's no such thing as like living for free. Things are not rent free. The things that you own, they own you in turn. I guess an easier way to explain this is that the less things that I owned, I guess the more freer I felt, but not in a very euphoric way. Before, when I got obsessed with decluttering, I was trying to achieve that high, that like freedom feeling that people talk about. But the freedom feeling didn't come from decluttering. The freedom feeling came from just knowing I didn't have to deal with that much stuff. Because when I got obsessed with decluttering, I felt really bad after I decluttered stuff, and I felt a sense of lack, I felt a sense of missing. So it's almost like the secret to it is just not accumulating the stuff in the first place is the way to feeling freedom and not actually decluttering. Alright, and number 4, the disciplined pursuit of less. Once I started to really enjoy living out of my suitcase, I started to kind of enjoy the disciplined pursuit of less. I felt motivated to not bring in more clutter or buy more things. I mean, I definitely could have gone out during these like 9 months and repurchased stuff, but I just felt very like accomplished in having less. I just didn't feel a desire to buy things. If anything, I felt more reservation to bringing in new things because I felt like, oh, that's gonna take away from my less stuff. It's gonna take away from my empty space, and it's just gonna add more clutter, and it's just gonna be more stuff that I have to take care of, and I just didn't want to deal with the extra everything that came with just having more stuff. And it's funny, you would think that living out of a suitcase would make me feel like just like a lack of stuff, that I was just gonna go out and buy more stuff. But I have actually decluttered more things out of my suitcase. I'm living even more tightly. The number of shirts that I have, I can just put on a ledge and that's it. My stuff doesn't even fill a full carry-on. I only can fill up half of a carry-on with my stuff. I'm not saying I'm trying to brag. I'm just trying to explain that I have been enjoying the disciplined pursuit of less. It takes time. Like that, I always thought like monks have it together. They know what's good. They can live with so little. They're so awesome. Like I don't know how they do it. It's something that takes practice, and it's something that takes a lifetime, and it's a journey, and it's going to take years of practice, and that's all that it takes. It just takes practice. You don't get there overnight. And I really did think it was going to happen overnight. I thought once I did my first declutter, my second declutter, I was just finally going to be in that Zen minimalism state forever. But that's not the case. And it's actually just a practice thing. You do mini declutters throughout the years, throughout the months, and you curate. And some stuff that you used to love, you don't love as much anymore. And some new things do come in and some things come out. And it's just a fluid thing. It's not a rigid thing, and that is something that I have made peace with, because I thought that once it was done, it was set in stone and it was never going to change again. Alright, so there we have what I learned in my extreme minimalism living out of a suitcase for 9 months. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe for more minimalism goodness, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.